in Russia. What is state of journalism? State of journalism includes the conditions and restrictions journalists may face when reporting a story. This is things such as limitations given by the country, as there are topics they do not want reporting to the public. Journalists can often expose themselves to dangers when reporting, as the country does not respect freedom of the press. There are organisations set up to publish reports on press freedom and support journalistic freedom. An example of this is the Committee to Protect Journalists. They reported that since 1992, a total of 887 journalists have been killed, showing the dangers that journalists are faced with. They also reported that since 2010, 145 journalists were jailed worldwide for journalistic activities. Why I chose Russia. The Committee to Protect Journalists quoted that a total of 77 of the killings to journalists had been in Russia. This shows the dangers that reporters are facing. These figures are a reason why I chose Russia. There is a huge total of 93,000 media outlets in Russia. This is made up of 27,000 newspaper outlets, showing the high number of journalists in Russia, and also 330 television channels. Television is one of the most popular sources of information. I also chose Russia as I think there is a lot to be covered when talking about the state of journalism. Limitations for journalists in Russia. In Russia, journalists are faced with many restrictions to what they can and cannot say. These restrictions are due to the country not wanting some information being told to the public. Many restrictions are given to reporters to reduce negative coverage to Russia. Although Russia do have types of media such as digital TV and internet media, what they do not have is media freedom. They do not have the ability to write and talk about issues of interest to them and also to the public. Journalists who try to report with the public's interest in mind face harsh punishment from the Kremlin. The Kremlin has many ways of stopping freedom of speech. It is through things such as charges of defamation. In conclusion, the main limitations that journalists in Russia face is the fact that they cannot report any negative coverage of Russia without facing some sort of punishment. This leads me on to my next slide, which is punishments that occur in Russia. There are many serious consequences that journalists reporting in Russia face when reporting on issues the state does not want reporting. These are consequences from charges of defamation to assault to murder. Many of the murders to journalists go unsolved, but do lead to self-censorship by journalists. Censorship is banning information of value to the enemy. Censorship is banned by the Russian Federal Constitution. Censors no longer exist, but there are editors whose opinion on an article must be taken into account. Journalists are often murdered as it is a way of silencing them, and it is easy as many of the murder cases go unsolved. There has been pressure from both the public and media encouraging police to investigate into these violences, but this achieved very little. I'm now going to show you some past cases of where journalists in Russia have faced consequences for reporting on areas that others did not want them to. This is a case study on Anna I can't pronounce her surname. Her murder. Anna was a Russian journalist who was assassinated on the 7th of October 2006. She is known for her opposition to the Chechen conflict. She is also known for her criticism of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Her assassination occurred on his birthday. Many believed it to be an illegal agreement set up by him. This began a strong reaction internationally. Before Anna's assassination, she had received other threats. In September 2004, she lost consciousness and fell in after drinking tea. She was reportedly poisoned. As well as often death threats, she also received rape threats. Anna's assassination took place in the lift of her apartment block, where she was shot a total of 4 times. There was a big reaction after the murder. The European Union called for a thorough investigation into the crime. In August 2007, 10 suspects were arrested who were believed to be involved. The suspects involved included members of the Chechen organised crime group. The case has been ongoing for years and is still unsolved. I've just got an article here for Evan to have. I'm just passing on. Okay, I've given you this article to demonstrate that 7 years on from this case and it's still not solved. I gave this article to demonstrate how the story is still receiving media attention. These images show the effects that the assassination of Anna had on people. It shows them protesting together. This image, that's on the bottom left, shows them protesting against the President Putin. It says, "Kill free press," suggesting he was involved in Anna's murder, and they're all not afraid to come together and speak. Got a video now. This video demonstrates another example of a killing to a journalist in Russia. It also demonstrates the people protesting to have their rights heard. The journalist in the video, I'll just get it up there.
This is the best of Q, featuring songwriter we know.
In Russia,
The journalist in this video was an owner of an opposition internet site.
near the Georgian border in the troubled region of Ingushetia, a high-profile and well-known journalist has been shot dead while in the custody of police. Authorities say it was an accident, but protesters say otherwise. Let's hear the full story.
More than 1,000 people gathered in Russia's troubled Ingushetia region on Monday to protest the death of Magomed Yevloyev, a leading journalist and opposition leader shot while in police custody. Yevloyev was an owner of an opposition internet site and the most high-profile Russian journalist to be killed since October 2006. Police said Yevloyev was shot by accident when he tried to grab an officer's gun, but his supporters and human rights groups believe he was murdered. Head of Memorial Human Rights Group Oleg Olev.
У нас нет другого вывода, что...
We do not have another conclusion apart from that it was a political murder. Another one in the chain of state terror in the North Caucasus, not only in Ingushetia, but also in Chechnya and Dagestan.
Yevloyev has often clashed with Ingushetia's Kremlin-backed leader, Murat Zyapikov, and his internet site was the target of official attempts to close it down. In April, he spoke about how his work was angering authorities.
English authorities and the Republican Prosecutor's Office are against our site only because it's the only source of information which gives the true picture of the situation in our region. I think this struggle will go on, and we will tell the truth of what's going on in our republic as long as we can.
As mourners gathered for his funeral in Ingushetia's biggest city, Nazran, protesters met in Central Square. Many said they would not leave until Ingushetia's leader leaves his post.
Okay, so that's another example of consequences journalists are faced with. This is some supporting images. This image is a visual support to demonstrate the number of journalists murdered from 1992 to 2013. I retrieved the image from the organisation website mentioned earlier, Committee to Protect Journalists. The red represents motives that have been confirmed and the brown represents non-confirmed motives. So you can just get an idea about how murders have changed. Okay, in conclusion, there are many facts and evidence that show journalist reporting in Russia is restricted. It is restricted mainly for the reason that Russia do not want their country to be seen as negative in any way, and if articles portray Russia in a negative light, that report will face consequences. We can also conclude that there are extreme consequences journalists could face and have seen evidence for this. It is also clear from the case of Anna, who after 7 years her murder is still unsolved, that many deaths to journalists are not fully investigated by the authorities in Russia. And that's it. Thank you.